Before I went to Motown, I ended up going to work for Berry Gordy's father-in-law. His name was Robert Coleman, and he had a label called Thelma Records. You work there to work yourself up to what they considered at that time being a professional, because Motown was like the hottest thing going. First job I had at Motown was working in quality control. Because I was a promotion man before I came to Motown. And what I found is that even at the radio stations, like WKNR here, I went to that station for 14 weeks to try to get Aretha Franklin, Never Loved a Man, on the radio. The program director at the time told me every Tuesday, that record will never get programmed on this station. And I'm like, the record's a hit. You know, we got a record here on Aretha Franklin, who's the queen of soul, you know, who's being played all over the world. And all of a sudden, you know, we got this pop station with this white music director who just refuses to play a record. I said, I got a hit record on an artist that you know is a national artist, and I think she deserves to play, even if you play her at night. That to me was probably the best thing I could have ever told him, because that's what he did. And the record ended up being a big record, of course. I mean, you know, on Aretha. I really felt like, for whatever reason, they wanted to keep that station at a certain face. You know, they didn't want that input, that R&B input into that station. And I felt like that was definitely something stirring, other than being fair about it. Eddie Kendricks told me about a situation when they were traveling through the South, I guess, doing a tour, and they stopped in some little town in Alabama, and the service, I guess they just wanted to get gas and get something to eat, and they ended up getting shot at. They ended up having to get on the bus and leave. You know, I just thought, I said, hey, you know, here's a group of singers, artists that they just want to go around and do great things musically, and they're being picked on because they're black artists, you know. And then I had another situation where Claudette Robinson told me they were working in Chicago. After the show, they went to get paid, and the promoter, who was the guy who promoted the show, told him he didn't have the money. So they went to the police station, and the guy at the police station, the chief of police, was the brother of the promoter who didn't pay him. So they ended up not getting any money because they just decided they wouldn't pay him, you know. And Motown created such a happiness that it wasn't really black music. It was just great music, you know. I mean, you know, it was just done by black artists and black writers, but the music itself was universal, you know. If you had any music at that time and had anything negative in it, it didn't even get past quality control. When Marvin started doing What's Going On, Barry didn't want to put it out. Motown, Stax, and Philly International were probably the top 3 R&B labels in the country. I think that R&B music dominated so intensely that there was, I don't know if I should use the word covert or whatever, there was some kind of something that went on that said that we cannot let this music dominate like it has been doing for the last 20 years. If you stop and think about it, all 3 companies kind of disappeared. They were offered money by the majors for distribution. Once they took the money and signed the contract for distribution, they stopped distributing it. You don't hear R&B music anymore. Everybody's singing pop. There's got to be a method to that madness. And I personally think that it was done intentionally because they were just too dominant.